You could argue that the four most important words of the Bible are the first four words, in the beginning God. If God is on site, then everything in the entire world changes. Well, like every other psalm, Psalm 14 is in the Bible because you and I need it. My title for Psalm 14 is, What is a Fool? So if you want to be wise, and you want to have wisdom shape everything you think, say, choose, speak, do, then you have to be able to recognize what foolishness is. Now, I'm going to say some things that at first will surprise you, but hang in with me. A fool is not defined as someone who says and does stupid things. A fool is not someone who espouses wrong or illogical political positions. A fool is not to be defined as someone who squanders opportunity or money. A fool is not someone who is full of himself, who is comfortable with injustice, is disrespectful or unkind. Now maybe you're thinking, well, if these people are not fools, then who is? The problem with all of these definitions is that they are more about what a fool does and not what makes a fool in the first place. What is it that causes a person to be a fool, that makes a person foolish? Well, Psalm 14. The fool says in his heart, there is no God. They are corrupt. They do abominable deeds. There is none who does good. The Lord looks down from heaven on the children of men to see if there is anyone who understands, anyone who seeks after God. They have all turned aside. Together they have become corrupt. There is none who does good, not even one. They have no knowledge, all of the evildoers, who eat up my people as they eat up bread, and they do not call upon the Lord. And the psalm goes on. Now, I'm about to hurt your feelings. But the definition of a fool in Psalm 14, repeated in Romans 3, includes us all. We all like to say we're on the wisdom side of things. But what Psalm 14 reminds us of is that one of the terrible things that sin does to all of us is sin reduces all of us to fools. And what is the epicenter of that foolishness? It's a denial of the existence and presence of God. Now, you got to stay with me. Not necessarily intellectual, not necessarily theological, but living as God doesn't exist, no matter what your theology is. Living in your marriage, living in your parenting, living in your life of money, living in your life of sex as if God doesn't exist. 2 Corinthians 5:15 says that Jesus came so that those who live would no longer live for themselves. There it is. I'm not living for God. My life itself is a denial of His existence, His authority, and my need of His grace. You see, it is the existence of God that is the ultimate fact that gives fact to every other fact in the universe. Everything in creation, every created thing ever done by human beings made in the image of God points to His existence. You could argue that the four most important words of the Bible are the first four words, in the beginning God. If God is on site, then everything in the entire world changes. So I have to ask you the question, are you a fool? I don't mean that you don't have God as a theological starting point in your formal belief system, but do you live as a fool? Do you live whole days acting as if God exists? Do you live with that state of God amnesia in your parenting when you handle your money and your sexual life? Epicenter of foolishness is a denial of God at street level where I live every day.